What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat podcast. I am Mike from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and I'm joined by the most dynamic duo since Burt Ward and Adam West, Mr. Joe Day and EP himself, Eric Pahalik. What's up, boys?
What's up, Mike? Let's get this party started as usual. I don't think it came up well, but it is a beer.
It did not work. Yeah,
it really is a beer. I swear.
I believe you, but a little bit of a letdown there.
Yeah,
Especially
this
with that
podcast
nice
doesn't want to join your super secret boy band.
So what's new, fellas?
Not too much, Michael. I'm excited to talk about whatever we're talking about today.
Joe, what is that?
This is Dogfish, Hazy O.
Okay.
If, I think they're a sponsor. I'm not 100% sure.
I've never seen that one. That's why I was
if
wondering.
If not, they should be. Yes, definitely.
Cheers.
Well, we're here today for the episode I've dubbed the Old Men Yell at the Clouds episode. We're going to be airing our top 3 gripes about the hobby. Let me preface this by saying that we will in a future episode be adding the top 3 things we love about the hobby. So we're not here to spread negativity. We're just adding a little constructive criticism, maybe, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, we all date back our hobby experience to the 90s, and a lot of stuff is different today than it was before, and that's what we're going to talk about. So each of us have 3 things on our list, and who wants to start?
I'll start.
Hey, there we go. EP. Let's go.
My first topic, wax box prices.
Oh, yes.
Like, man, as a set builder, like I love opening packs, seeing all the different kinds of cards, putting it all together, and you can't really do that right now, like with any sort of like consistency. Just the stuff's just too expensive.
Yeah, when Topps baseball's over $100 a box, like, yeah, that's rough. But Joe, I can't afford it. How about you?
I mean, if I could afford it, I probably it's almost like it's 100% a gamble, right? It's like going to the casino.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I look at the back of your screen there, Mike, you have some boxes. EP I know he has a lot of 90s boxes. I can't afford the stuff in 2021, 2022. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's a breaker's world. I really believe that the only way you can look at things fresh out of the box is through breaks, because buying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 boxes on the mid end, and then going up to what were flawless basketball, $12,000. I just can't even imagine. What was the highest product we had back in the day? Topps Chrome Football, I think, was what, $100 a box back in 1999.
They were a little over 100, I think, like when they first came out, like talking release price. Yeah. There were some of the ones that had the different things, like every pack had an autograph thing and stuff like that too. They were like $20 a pack, but there might have been 10 packs to a box. So They were maybe between 150 and 200, but yeah, it's not anything like it is today.
Right. Inflation didn't go up that high.
Yeah, like you said, Mike, even like Topps Series 1 and like Bowman or Topps Heritage, like the cards that are just for set collectors, they're like $120 a box. And if you try to go back a couple years and get one that has the rookies from the previous years, like they're $600 a box. Like, to put together a set, if you're a set builder, you need to get like 3 boxes or so to get kind of enough cards to really be close to a full set and to get a good feel of all the inserts and all that sort of stuff. And like $600 a box times 3. That's just insane. Like, you really can't do it if you're trying to go back and build those sets. Like, it's crazy to me. And that's really a gripe of mine.
And a lot of it, like you said, Joe, is because of the breakers. Like, they're the people buying a majority of that product. It's not in the hands of a collector. You know, we're not paying, like, you know, WWE Prism came out this past week. It was what, $900 a box. So, you know, some people took a chance, got one here and there, but the products are being made for breakers.
So I'm going to be doing at some point a video of my Tom Brady rookie card collection. I was actually looking at some of the lower end. I like to call them like entry level Brady rookies, and Score was one of the Brady rookies I have. I remember a box of Score cost $50, right?
If that,
Now,
yeah.
Yeah.
Score Football, which is the lowest end product that Panini makes, is what, $500, $400, $500 a box. Unbelievable to me. I don't care how many sticker auto. We'll talk about that soon, but I don't care how much stuff is in there compared to what there was before. The value is just not to be had. There's no value. You either get a ton of value or zero value, and for the most part, it's zero value.
And I've opened a couple, and I know that firsthand. I've opened up boxes, and I'm like, what did I do? Why did I do that?
Why would I do this?
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. So Joe, speaking of sticker autos,
I mean,
you're
great transition, right? Perfect. So you have these boxes of cards that are costing minimum, like we said with Score, say $500. What do we buy Legacy for, Mike? It was like $300 a box when we decide what the heck we'll buy something cheap, right?
Something cheap.
But that all the way up to things like Immaculate, things like I think National Treasures is the one that doesn't, but sticker autos, the scourge of card collecting. I can't imagine buying a box of Prism Football for almost $1,000. You were just talking about Prism WWE, almost $1,000. They are nothing but sticker autos, and this is not a pandemic thing. I was looking at rips from 2018, 2017, just for nostalgia's sake, and sticker autos, Josh Allen sticker autos, Patrick Mahomes sticker autos. It's when you're going to have a product that expensive, you need players touching those cards and signing them.
It would be nice. I mean, there are some products out there. I think a lot of the top stuff, doesn't that still have EP sticker autos? But I mean, almost all of Panini is anymore. And like, people make a big deal when something is on card now. It's like, wow, like that really should be the norm. I don't know. Like, I don't know why collectors accepted, well, just put on a sticker and slap it on the card somewhere. EP?
I think, well, just a little bit on that. I think part of it was, I think they used to hide the stickers a little better. Now it's almost blatant, where, I mean, it's just an all white card with a sticker plaster on there, where some of them, they had kind of a design that kind of like hid the sticker, said, oh, this is a sticker, but it's, just kind of hit it a little better. But now they just don't care. And like you guys said, everything's a sticker. That's crazy. And I mean, does Flawless come in with stickers too? Like, are they coming in with stickers, or are they mostly signed?
So Flawless and National Treasures, just out of the football stuff that I watch, they are primarily on card, which, thank God.
Yeah, they
$4,000 a box or whatever.
$4,000 to $10,000 a box they should be. But something high end like Optic, something high end like Prism, they should not have sticker autos. I bought a box of the Pro Set Metal. They had sticker autos, but you know what? You got like 6 autos per box. It was $150 or $200. It, not the end of the world. I bought a Trevor Lawrence Leaf rookie auto card. It was a sticker, but again, I think a Trevor Lawrence sticker auto card was like maybe $125, $150 on eBay. But when you're talking about $1,000 boxes of cards, Joe Burrow autographs going for $5,000 out of that. It's mind blowing that people are just kind of okay with it. And the stickers that they're signing, I made this point in another pod, the stickers that they're signing today as rookies will be on their 4th, 5th, 6th year cards, because they're just making them sign thousands of these stickers, and they're just slapping them on different products.
There's nothing worse than getting that card with a sticker where the guy signed half of his autograph off of the edge of the sticker.
Right.
That's something you don't have to worry about when you have an on-card autograph. So that's really frustrating. Number 1 on my list, I have lack of innovation. That's been a big gripe of mine since we've gotten back into the hobby. It's like, really nothing has changed. Same stuff that's been put out since like the late 90s, the early 2000s. You have refractor cards, you have colored cards, you have numbered cards. I mean, it's nice stuff, but like, where are the old Pacifics that weren't afraid to throw something out there completely different and see if they create a new craze, but everything is just the same thing over and over in every product.
People have been going crazy over the last week or so for the Clearly Donruss, like how cool it is. This is really nice product. Yeah, they had that in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
They had that into, the Kurt Warner, one of Kurt Warner's rookie cards I have in my PC is from, I forget what was it, Playoff, Clearly Playoff or
Absolute.
something.
Absolute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's, again, it's just the same stuff. And some people don't realize it's the same stuff because we sound like old men. They didn't collect or they don't look back. We are.
Yeah.
But, even when Crown came out, a lot of the stuff that people are considered innovative is just stuff that Panini is just rolling out from Pacific. When they bought Playoff and Pacific, it's a lot of that innovative stuff is just from older products that they just happen to have in their catalog. The stuff that Panini has come out on their own is actually my least favorite products. What's the one EP? I think you kind of like it. Is it the Gold Rush or something like that? And it comes in like a gold bar box, and it's the only thing Panini I think has created themselves, and it's pretty rough. Even National Treasures, that's something that Playoff did. There really is no innovation.
Yeah, the super high end stuff, like Upper Deck was doing that too. I think Upper Deck might have had the very first of the super high end stuff. If I remember correctly. I can't remember what it was called.
Exquisite. Yeah.
National
Treasures is pretty much a rip off of that. Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of the channel, Rob Ingalls, he posted some cards that his parents gave him, and they had like some Stadium Club inserts and some Flair Ultra inserts on it, like these from like the mid '90s that look as good as like the Topps home field advantages and the downtowns that we're seeing out of today's products. And just like, yes, I agree 100% with you, Mike. Like it's the first. I think the frustrating part for me is not so much that there's not innovation, but that everybody's like gaga over them now. Like these are the greatest things ever, and making it seem like they are like this innovation and these great things where they've been around for a long time, or at least they have come back.
Yeah, like how's a downtown any different than a base Flair card from like the late 90s? Like Flair Showcase, that every card looked like that. Like, I don't know.
Kaboom. The Kaboom cards are basically Pacific Prism.
Early Prism too, like early 90s. Yeah.
And people kind of made fun of Pacific back then and thought they were ridiculous. And, this is just too weird. And now it's like the chase card are the Kabooms, and they look just like them.
Pacific was well ahead of their time, but that's, I think, a different episode of a podcast altogether right there. Okay, EP, number 2 on your list.
Exclusive licensing deals. And this is just pretty much, why can't I have Topps and Topps football and basketball products? Like, that's just the bottom line. And I think part of the reason why we haven't seen any innovation, is because like Topps does all the baseball stuff, has no competition. I mean, yes, Panini makes stuff, but Panini has no competition in football. Even though they have all these different product lines, they don't really have any competition. And I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens with this Fanatics thing, because they're gonna have they're gonna own the license, and Topps is gonna produce all of it. So are we gonna just have more of the same for as long as that contract lasts? What I mean?
Yeah, that was my big concern when we were doing the pod about Fanatics, and that interview is we have no competition now. So what's going to happen in 3-4 years, whenever it is that Topps takes over? Well, we're going to have no competition then too. Hopefully the first couple of years they're like, well, we're going to put our best foot forward, which I'm sure Panini did when they first took over. But at a certain point, when you have no competition and Rubens is buying up everything, I think that could be a major problem. Once we get all the nostalgia out of the way, we have Topps football again. This is awesome, Topps Chrome football. And then you realize, it's just going to be the same thing every year because they're not being pushed to create anything new. They don't have to. And it'll be even worse if they buy Panini out as well, or at least the products that Panini bought when they took over, the Playoff, the Pacific, the Score, things like that. And they'll just have it all in-house, and it's going to be the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand it. You don't have competition, no matter how gung-ho you are going into it. When you get the license, like, you're gonna sit back, you're gonna release the stuff that people like to buy, you're just gonna throw the stuff out there. I mean, you don't have anything different from year to year. Prism when it comes out next year and the year after is going to be same as this year and last year and the year before. It's just, they go, well, this works, so we'll give people what they want and we won't rock the boat.
And people buy it.
And they do. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the problem too. Until people demand some kind of innovation, and people don't want it. We're in the minority, I guess, when it comes to that. And I maybe because we remember a time and remember that feeling of, oh wow, did you see what is in that, or what was in this? And you'd go into the shop and you'd be like, oh, I want to get that Fleer Ultra because that's just like game changing. And I don't think people, they don't have that kind of feeling. They don't have that knowledge because they've never been in a situation where they got to pick based on, oh wow, this has that instead of this. So
EP made the point, it might have been on Twitter, and I think you just mentioned it a little bit ago, about Stadium Club. I remember Stadium Club football being, it's just the best photography of any product, and you just don't even have that. I mean, and that might be another side gripe, but a lot of the cards now, it's just a cutout of the player with some sort of interesting, I guess, background, but the photography's gone. And when you don't have to do like really cool, really nice looking photography like they had in Stadium Club, but people have gotten used to that, and they're fine with it.
Yeah. Well, Joe, number 2 on your list.
My number 2 kind of ties in with the sticker auto, because it has become just the norm now, is meaningless memorabilia cards. I don't know what bothers me more, that they are not attached to anything, or we actually call them memorabilia cards, because
they're not.
They're not relics. They're not memorabilia. When we collected back in the old days, you would have cards that had the player worn jersey, the player touched football. The card generally would have when that player wore that jersey or touched that football. Now you just have, this is not attached to any specific player or event. I really don't understand, other than kind of looking nice, depending, if it's a really nice patch, sure, it looks great. It's a nice part of the card. Most of the time it's just people call them napkin patches. It's just a piece of white jersey. And they're just not attached to anything. I can't wrap my head around why people care about these.
Yeah.
During the rookie, I guess they were like the rookie events where they would sign a lot of cards, and they would do the pictures and things like that for the rookie classes. They would throw on a jersey and catch a couple passes. So it wasn't really game used, but at least they were attached and associated to an event that the rookie event worn, and they actually were worn. Now it's not even that. It's beyond that. And I don't even think the National Treasures or the Immaculates of the world, I don't think they even have at this point player game worn jerseys.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
I have no interest in any of the so-called memorabilia stuff anymore. How cool was it back in the day when you could get a game used jersey card and you get it and it would be dirty or maybe have a blood stain, or that was cool. Like you get that and you were really excited about it. And now it's a piece of fabric. Like, who cares? I don't care. It might look really nice, like that could be cool, but if the player didn't wear it, why should you care? And why would I pay money for it? I feel like the card companies are just saving money and making more, like they're going back to earlier, they're charging so much money for the product that they put out, but then they're not putting money into what they need to do to send cards to players to get them signed. They're not buying game used memorabilia to cut up to put on a patch to make it special, and just all about the bottom line and just making more money. And that made me hate it even more.
Yep, I agree 100% with you guys. Like, this was on my list as well, and you guys touched on everything I wanted to touch on. Like, it's frustrating because we used to be able to see a card, flip it over, and it would tell you what game this jersey was from. Not always, but some of them were like that. And to me, that's like you're holding a piece of history Or same thing with when you're holding a card with an autograph on it, like this player, this is attached to this player. This player has some sort of a link. This card has a link to this player, and you just don't have that when you have a sticker auto and then a piece of jersey that has never been worn by that player or even touched by that player. Like it just loses all of that feel to it. Where we used to have that back in the day, where you'd have like I have a Reggie Jackson card with a piece of game used bat in it. And Reggie Jackson's my favorite baseball player of all time. And it's one of my prized possessions just because like he actually used this bat in a game. And it's just wild to me to think that I have this card. Just don't have that anymore.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Two things real quick to kind of button this issue. I had a card. It was a Jerry Rice when he was at the Raiders, a game used football. And again, like you said, we mentioned before, it had the date that he played. It had the stats that he had that game, all of this stuff. I put that on eBay, and I think it went for $19.99. Actual game used Jerry Rice, game caught football went for $20. Can you imagine how much, if it was in today's products, how much that probably would have gone for? It's almost like a lack of respect for the older stuff that actually was game used. Oh no, we'd rather have something that someone just touched, or not even, someone we just pulled from a JC Penney's rack of jerseys. The other thing is that it's mind blowing to me is when they have glove relics for quarterbacks that don't wear gloves. They had a glove relic for Nick Chubb. He notoriously does not wear gloves as a running back. They're just throwing these things out there. They're cutting up pieces of something that no one knows anything about, and they just slap it on the card, and they just don't care because people will buy it.
Yeah, the bottom line. Okay, my number 2. This one falls on the lack of professionalism in the hobby and the lack of basic business principles in the hobby. Not everybody, a lot of really good sellers out there that do things the right way, but we're all on card Twitter. We see eBay sellers complaining about everything, see other people on there that sell through Twitter complaining about stuff, the wanting people to pay all the fees on everything. Like I don't know. I've run businesses my whole life, and I just shake my head at a lot of stuff I see. It's like nobody has taken business 101. There are so many people out there that and this is accepted now. It's like kind of normal. Oh, well, okay. Yeah. We have to pay friends and family on PayPal so this person can get all the money and avoid paying taxes. And it just drives me crazy. I know it might be a little more pointed to me since I have been in business my whole life, but other stuff too, like going into card shops or card show and people not having prices on their cards. They have to look it up on eBay. Like, really? I'm walking out. I'm not doing that. I can go to eBay and I can buy that card for eBay price if I want to. Like, if you're setting up at a show, put prices on your cards. Like that blows my mind. Just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean the Twitter thing is I asked someone, I kind of troll everywhere I can for Brady rookie cards that aren't outlandishly overpriced, and I will try and buy on Twitter because for the most part some people are a little bit reasonable. You will run into those others though who not only want the eBay price, they want the eBay price plus they want you to pay friends and family. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I can get the safety and security of eBay. And we're not shills for eBay, and any ironic word to use when talking about eBay. We're not shills for eBay or anything like that. But if I'm going to pay $1,500 for a card, I'm going to pay $1,500 on eBay and have the safety and security.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of getting an argument over a guy being like, well, you're saving about 10%. I'm saving the taxes. Let's kind of work something out here. And it just turns into a pretty tough situation because they think they should get what you would pay on eBay, but then get away with not paying any of the fees. I know that's a very specific example of your gripe, but that's the one I see.
You see a lot of that too. A lot of the people that I got offered this on eBay, does anybody want to buy it for that before I sell it? Like, I'm like, really? You on eBay, you list an offer, obviously at a price you're willing to sell for, and you have to jump to Twitter to try to pawn it off there. I don't, just not something I would do. EP?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of egregious stuff. But one I saw just yesterday was somebody bought a card. They didn't say what the price was of the card, but they said they paid $465 for shipping, and they ended up getting it sent to them in eBay standard envelope, which costs like 53 cents, I think is what it is. So they were complaining. They said, "Hey, should I be upset that I paid $465 for shipping for this card, even though they spent 53 cents, maybe $1 total with packaging and everything to send it?" And there were actually people defending the seller in the comments. I'm like, "What are you talking about? You paid $465,
Yeah.
and he said he only spent like $1 at most to send it. That is clearly like such a violation on so many levels, and so unprofessional on so many levels. And then to have all these people defending them just seemed insane to me. And I just don't I don't get that part of it. Like, be a good seller. Like,
Yeah, I mean, somebody did that to me, I'd automatically block them. I'm not going to buy from them again. Like, isn't that the point? Like, if you're selling on eBay or selling on Twitter, you can give a little bit to make the other person happy too, and build a business relationship. Like, I see people like, haggling over $10 here or there on like a $400 card. Like, we'll go back to the whole, if you send me a lowball offer on my $400 card, I'm okay with it, but don't send me $390. It's like, we know what we're talking about here, but really?
Right.
Like, and then, you backtrack from that later, but I digress. But like, why would you get upset by that? Like, people like to feel like they get a deal. Like, we all do. If you can sell something for $390, make somebody happy, have them come back and buy again. You could be the biggest seller in the world, but you should care about everybody who buys from you, and you should care about building your customer base. And you do that by making people happy, and you don't have to give them a ridiculous price. Find that area where both you and the buyer can both be happy. We all sell cards on eBay. I don't know if it's because I used to own the card shop. I like being able to give somebody a card that they want. Even if it's $1 card, if they're happy, that makes me happy, because we're all collectors too. We know what it's like. Oh, I'd like to have that card. And that feeling, if you can make somebody happy and make them a repeat customer, like, that's what it's all about in my book.
So I don't sell anywhere near as much as you do, Mike, on eBay, but I do have some folks that are repeat customers, and I've had someone come over, and I want to say 3 or 4 different times they had bought from me, and the 4th time they had bought things that were different products. So it wasn't, they couldn't just put it get the discount on all the Marvel cards they bought and the wrestling cards and some football cards or whatever. But I could have been, if I was a jerk, I could have been, well, I'm going to ship these out at the 53 cents that I said I was going to for the free shipping individually. Or since he's a repeat customer, he's come back numerous times, I could bundle them up, lose the couple bucks in paying for a padded envelope or a mailer with tracking, and send it that way. He was so grateful that I had done that. And he said, "Oh, I'll pay for the shipping. I appreciate it." I said, "Don't worry about it. You've bought from me 3 or 4 times. It's totally not the end of the world." I don't think there's enough of that. It's, how can I get that extra 50 cents from that guy? How can I get that extra $1? And it's kind of gross. It's kind of used car salesman to me. Bit. And I just, it rubs me the wrong way. Or if you've sent free stuff on Twitter, how many times when someone buys from me on Twitter, I'll throw in a couple extra cards. Oh, who's your favorite Marvel character? Let me toss in a couple of extra Marvel cards since you just spent $50 on Marvel cards or something like that.
Yeah. And here's an eBay pro tip. If you buy different items from a seller, if you just put them in your cart instead of buying them, you can request a total from the seller with like a combined shipping. So even like if they're not buying it all from one listing where you have combined shipping, if you just, instead of buying each item, you add to cart, then you can go up to your cart and request the total, and it keeps the items in there for you, and nobody else can buy them until they get back to you. But like you commit to buy once they send you the combined total. Just recently found that out myself, which, been using eBay for like 25 years and I didn't know that. But okay,
It's kind of like walking into a shop though and having getting a bunch of cards and saying how much for these, and then saying, okay, I'll give you all of them to you for like $40. Like maybe
exactly.
sellers will do that for you. Yeah.
All right, so EP, last one on your list.
This is, I struggled to make a list of 5. Like I feel like the other than the things like wax prices, obviously I was upset about the exclusive licensing deals, game jerseys, but this last one I haven't experienced.
I can hear some drag racing on EP Street right now.
I live right in the corner of a very busy street in town, and they're just cars, and for some reason some of them don't have exhaust. I apologize.
Gotta move out to the burbs like Mike and I did.
Yeah, definitely.
Unrealistic expectations for raw cards. People are ripping cards. They expect it to be a PSA 10 right out of the pack every time. If they're buying a card on eBay, I haven't experienced this myself. I've sold probably 60 some cards in like the last few months. I haven't experienced this myself, but I've seen on Twitter people complaining, selling a $2 card and having it be returned, or somebody complaining because, oh, this isn't a PSA 10. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, just a joke.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it seems insane to me that somebody would worry about a $2 card being PSA 10, and also that people think just because it comes out of a pack, it should be a PSA 10. PSA 10s are like, or from any grading company, a 10 is meant to be this superb, like pristine, perfect card. It's supposed to be something very, very rare, not just because you pulled it out of a pack yourself.
Yeah.
So I can speak from experience on this. I sold a boy Sage Surratt, I guess he was a wide receiver for a hot minute for the Lions in minicamp, but I had pulled a card out of, I want to say it was Legacy, and it was pack pulled, put it in a sleeve, top loader, whatever. And then when I started listing stuff, that was one of the cards. I think I listed it for $2.99 or whatever, or best offer. Guy comes back to me, offers me $2. I'm like, again, one of those things, I don't need to make every dollar in the world. It's not the end of the day. So I said, here you go. Here, $2. He pays for it. Send it to him, eBay standard. I get a message back from him, I want to say a week after it's been delivered. Well, this card didn't come in perfect, and there's some edge wear, and there's some this, and there's some that. Well, first off, I didn't notice any of that. Mm-hmm. But I said, well, if you could take a picture and show me, I have a no returns policy, but if it did come in damaged, I would want to let eBay know about it, and we can get the insurance involved. And again, $2 card, I didn't really care about the $2, but I wanted him to prove that the card was actually damaged. And he tried to return it. And then when I offered that to him, he said it went silent. There was no response after that. So clearly the card was fine. He just didn't want to go either through the process, or he didn't want to get called out on an insurance fraud situation. Yeah. But again, I will get raw cards. I just got one in today, the other day. It was $175 Tom Brady rookie card. It's not gem mint. I knew that going in, but I'm not the type of person who's going to return every single card if it doesn't come in at 10. Depending on the card, they would have been graded already if they were a 10.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
So to return everything. Now, to be fair, I will return things if the pictures were misleading or the description was misleading. Absolutely. I returned one recently because there was a print line, pretty big print line, that if I was selling it, I would have mentioned that. And you can do some different things with camera angles to make it look like there isn't a print line. So in those cases, I completely agree that a return should happen. But otherwise, if you're looking at a card and they're pretty open about the condition and you get it and it's not a 10, well, that's just cards. Cards aren't meant to be perfect out of the pack.
Yeah. You want a PSA 10, buy a PSA 10. Like, I don't think you can have an expectation of buying a raw card that it should be a 10. Like we said, you pull them out of a pack and most of them aren't 10s. And especially if you're talking about something that's not ultra modern, like, come on, it's not going to be a 10. I think, expecting it'll come near mint or better is reasonable. And anything below that, I think the seller has a responsibility to give an accurate description. But come on, like, a tiny little bit of white on the corner or a little bit of edge wear that might be common for a card. You can't make a big deal about that. And, save it for when it really matters, for when you really should make a big deal about it, is my opinion.
And I open up a lot of the Marvel cards, and when I list the extras, I always put cards are in near mint to mint condition. Or if the box, I've had this happen too, where you open up a box and the cards have over time shifted in the box and the packs, and there might be some edge wear and whatnot. I'll put near mint condition. I'm very transparent about it. And I also say on my listings, do not expect PSA 10s when buying these cards. Not that matters. It just makes me feel better to say it.
Yeah.
I have a couple listings myself where the very first word is an asterisk, and then the word damaged in all caps, asterisk. And there might only be small flaws, but I want to make sure to point them out and say, hey, these are like $3 cards. But and like in theory, I probably shouldn't even list them, but they were brand new, like they're from this year. So I figured maybe some people would be interested. And they have actually got quite a few impressions and stuff. But I'm like, when there's something that I think is something worth mentioning, I'm putting it right there at the very beginning of the title, and just want to make sure people are aware. Like, you have to.
I saw a Kyle Pitts lot that had a print line. It was a rated rookie, and it was a Kyle Pitts rated rookie. And I put print line in big bold letters at the very end of the title. There was just enough room. I put print line. Someone ended up buying it, and they didn't complain. But again, some people just don't read. I think there was something on Twitter, didn't we? I think we both might have commented on it, Mike. Someone was complaining that they had posted something and they listed the damage, everything in the description, and they put read description in the thing, and the guy goes, oh, I didn't read the description, I didn't realize this card was damaged.
I saw that.
It's mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. So if you want a PSA 10, buy a PSA 10, which brings me to your last gripe, Joe.
Great transitions.
Thank you. I'm getting good.
So my last gripe is buying the grade and not the card. So again, we've mentioned it numerous times, but I do collect Tom Brady rookie cards, right? So most of my collection are 8s, but they're not just 8s that say 8s. I look at the card, I make sure the card fits the grade. I think too many times in this world, the top third of the slab is all they care about, where it says, oh, this says gem mint, but there's a big print line that the grader clearly forgot. That's not a gem mint card. But they're still willing to pay $10,000 for a card, or $10 for a card. If it says gem mint, but it's actually not gem mint, you're not buying what you're hoping for at that point. You are buying a label that just happens to have a card attached to it. And I can't imagine looking at my collection. I even have a PSA 6 Brady, which I think looks way better than a 6. I've seen 7s and 8s that look worse, that I would never trade my 6 for. My 6 looks better than that 8. So I'm going to keep my 6 in that 6 slab, I don't care, over going out and buying a PSA 8 that I know is not as nice of a looking card as my 6 is. So there's a lot of that in the hobby. I know, EP, you don't send a lot of cards to be graded, but what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think maybe part of it is also what people think makes a great looking card. And in my opinion, centering is like the number one thing for me. And Rob Ingles, who I mentioned earlier, like, he doesn't care as much about the centering, cares more about corners and edges and stuff. And but if I'm buying a card, like, I don't care about the grade. Well, I care about the grade, but I care about the centering. I want the card to look good. And that's the bottom line, is what you're saying, Joe. Is like, just because it's PSA 10, but if it has a glaring flaw that you can see from a mile away, or like, that's not the kind of card I want to own. I want in my collection. I would probably sell that kind of card.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if I'm going to buy a PSA 10, I don't want one of those 60-40 centering PSA 10s. Like I want a nice looking one. And I think it's probably the investment part of this with like the newer cards that really brought this kind of thinking on. Because
Yeah.
I've seen people, let's take a set like Optic. They have dimples on a lot of those cards, and people sending in cards that have flaws that they know, but they're hoping that PSA will still put a 10 on it. Like that blows my mind. It's like, okay, even if they put a 10 on it, you don't think it's a 10
Right.
because you're pointing out all this stuff and saying, will they still give me a 10? Like all you care about is the number because you want to sell the card. And I get that, but like I think that's where all of this is trickled down from.
And we've waxed poetic about Alico 3 a couple of times already in previous podcasts, but one of the best views on YouTube, and he'll get a card back, he'll send in and he'll pre-grade it an 8 and he'll come back at 10. He'll be like, well, that's going to the store, because he goes, I'm not keeping that in my collection. I know it's not a 10, but you know what? I'm not the arbiter of these grades. PSA came out and they said it's a 10, and he will use the line, people care more about the grade than they do the card. So I'll put that in the store, and I guarantee you I'll get a 10 price for it because people won't actually look at the card. I've actually messaged him as an eBay buyer. I messaged him about a couple of his cards and said, well, what would you say the flaw is on this one? Why do you think this one got an 8? And he's straight up with it. He'll say, oh, there's an edge ding here, there's a corner issue here, or whatever. And I'll take that in consideration. I think I bought it was a Pros and Prospects card that's still at your house, by the way, Mike.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get it for
maybe,
Easter.
maybe not.
Maybe the Easter Bunny will bring it. But I bought actually that one instead. It was an 8, an SGC 8, over one that he had listed as an SGC 8.5. I actually thought the 8 looked better. So I bought that one. I probably could have gotten him close. I probably would have had to spend a couple extra $100. But when you're buying a $2,000 card at the end of the day, that's not that much money. But the 8 looked better. So that's what I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy the card that looks better versus the grade that's higher.
Okay. Well, that brings me to my last one. And oh, man, I don't even want to say the word reprint.
Ooh.
Yeah. How, as a hobby, we have taken the word fake, F-A-K-E, fake, and turned it into reprint, and everybody is okay with it is beyond me.
Wow.
These cards are not reprints, they are fake cards. Unless a company that owns the intellectual property is reprinting a card, it is not a reprint. It's somebody with a really nice printer printing cards to sell on eBay to make money off of that they have no investment in whatsoever. They have no right to sell it whatsoever. And oh, by the way, eBay is okay with it. Like how do they allow it? I know they don't. If I had like some kind of Gucci whatever that was fake, they wouldn't let me sell it there. So why can I reprint a Tom Brady rookie card and sell it on there and not even put reprint, just put RP in the listing? Like people are supposed to know what that means. You're doing that because you're hoping they don't know. They're fake cards. Let me say it one more time. Fake cards, reprints.
Yeah, and that again, what I look for and what I collect, I see it so often, and they do their level best, these sellers, to hide the RP somewhere. I've seen people put RP instead of RC for rookie card just to trick people. I mean, it's they put 2,000 Pros and Prospects Tom Brady RPs, and so someone who doesn't know any better could say, oh, that must just they must have, oh, I might get a great deal. They mistyped rookie card. Now I'm going to get this great deal on this card. I see some of these fake cards, fake, not reprints.
Fake,
I see some of these.
F-A-K-E.
I see we should have fake just plastered across the screen. I see a lot of these fake cards, and I see a lot of them going for a couple of $100. And I can't wrap my head around who would who would sell them thinking that they could get away with it? Because if I got that, I guess you have only a 3-day window, right, to
Mhm.
actually return it. So I guess these people are hoping in 3 days you won't have time to send to SGC to get authenticated or PSA. So maybe that's their hope. I don't know what the policy is on that, but there are people buying these that legitimately think there are real cards.
Mhm.
These people are scammers. Like, it just goes back to what the your one gripe, Mike, the unprofessionalism. Like, the bottom line is, if you're putting the reprint at the very end of the listing, or you're making it RP instead of RC, like, you are
Mhm.
trying to hide the fact that this is a fake card, and there's just a simple fact of trying to sell them again. It all feels like a scam, like something like super, like the kind of person that is doing this is not the kind of person I want to deal. I want to do any sort of deal, have any sort of dealings with in any way whatsoever.
And the bigger issue is with all of the reprints that they're selling, which are fake cards being sold on eBay. What is the person who's buying them doing with it? Like, people sell them in stacks of 50, stacks of 100, and like, what, that the person buying 100 reprinted Tom Brady rookie cards isn't doing it for fun. He
Right.
has ulterior motive. He's going to go to a card shop and see if he can pawn it off. He's going to find somebody to trade with it, see if he can pawn it off. He's going to go to a card show and see if he can pawn it off. He might buy a fake PSA slab, that you
Mhm.
can buy on certain places, and throw it in there and act like it was graded by PSA and trade it. Like, eBay, by allowing them to sell these cards, are adding to a huge problem in the industry, and that's fake cards. And I just can't wrap my head around why they allow these to be sold. They shut it down if you're selling fake other items, but they're allowing it to happen in cards, and I just don't get it.
The reprints slash fake cards are this kind of generation's trim cards. I think the grading companies got so good at picking up trim cards, so they kind of shut that down a little bit. But I think, like you said, Mike, people are putting them into slabs and then trying to. I want to say it was a Dallas card show. This happened a few months ago where people actually got
Mhm.
arrested
Yeah.
for, ironically, again, Tom Brady rookie cards. I think it was like a couple of impact cards and maybe a Bowman, and they sold them to someone who thought they got a great deal, and then they realized, oh no, these aren't even PSA slabs, and the cards in them aren't actual cards either. So, yeah, it goes back to what I said before. Card people in cards are either really good, passionate people or sleazy used car salesmen.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah.
And I think we see more of the sleazy as soon as money gets involved in something like this.
Yep. Well, that about wraps it up for today. Any closing thoughts?
I swear we'll say good things at some point. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have
Definitely.
to really come up with three. It's gonna take me a little while, but I'm sure there are plenty of good things in the hobby that we will talk about at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah, like I said, I really struggled to come up with 5 that I've experienced myself. You see a lot of it on Twitter, but you hope that it's like one of those, like, the vocal minorities. The issue is like a small part. We're just seeing it because of social media. But yeah, I think there's a lot of really great stuff in the hobby too. I agree.
Yes, definitely. All right, boys. Good chat. Thanks for listening to the Retro Card Chat podcast. Look for a new episode every week.